New Pasuk, Mishlei 20:25. I think this is going to be a difficult one to translate. Mokesh Adam Yalla Kodesh. Not Yalla like the
Allah.
slang. Yeah. V'achar Nadarim Levaker. Okay, so Yalla, I bet no one knows what that means.
Yalla. Like
Yeah.
move forward, go on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I bet no one knows what it means.
I know.
Yeah.
We need to talk wildly.
Yes. How do you know, Isaiah? Because you can see the dictionary on my computer. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the Al HaTorah dictionary says Yalla comes from, and I wouldn't know this either. The shorish is either Lamed Vav Ayin or Lamed Ayin Ayin. Who knew that was a shorish? So the Al HaTorah dictionary says it means to talk wildly. In Arabic, the Arabic related word is to make mistakes in talking. Okay, and then levaker, the Al Torah says to inquire or seek. Yeah, Yaakov.
I see it as a wildly different translation.
Okay, yeah. So we'll look at Metzudas as we usually do in a second. So just based on dictionary definitions, how anyone want to try a working translation here?
Okay. It means talking.
To talk wildly.
To
yeah.
talk wildly.
Yeah. According to Al Torah. So Mokesh Adam Yalla Kodesh.
What's Mokesh?
Mokesh is, anyone know what Mokesh is? Yeah, trap or snare. It's really hard to translate, right? Yeah. Should we just look at the
I mean, man will trap his kedusha by talking wildly.
Okay, so good. That's what we want, a working translation, right? Man will trap his kedusha. I'll just leave that in Hebrew. Kedusha, you said by talking wildly?
Yeah, or through his talking wildly.
Okay, yeah, I'll just say by talking wildly. Okay, v'achar nedarim levaker.
And afterwards, Nadarim will be clear.
Levaker is to inquire or seek.
To inquire.
And this is in the infinitive, levaker.
Oh, I don't really know grammar so much.
Okay, and afterwards, nedarim levaker. Or after, I guess.
His vows.
After swears, he will.
Okay, and after vows. So I think we should assume that it means actual nadarim, like actual vows, and then if like in like halakhic context, and then if we need to, we'll expand it to like promises, like beit an l'chavero or whatever, you know. After vows, what did you say? To or he will
might go after.
To seek or go after. All right. So this is our working translation. Man will trap his kedusha by talking wildly, and after vows to seek. So let's do something that we don't usually do. Let's do the English translations first, like from our school and friends, and then we'll go to Metzudas and Saadia. So our scroll says our scroll puts in like a zillion brackets here. Man's stumbling in sin undermines his sanctity, and his remedy is to seek vows of atonement. Okay, that's our scroll.
That's remedy. I thought that was part of the problem.
Yeah, I thought that I would read it as part of the problem also.
Yeah,
Like
too many darn.
Yeah, right. Meaning, like, if you read the pasuk, it sounds like it's just saying two behaviors, Yalla Kodesh and Achar Nadarim Levaker, and I would say both of them are mokesh, both of them are trap. Yeah, that's how I would translate it also. Okay, so that's our scroll. Living Knot says a snare. Oh, clearly no one knows how to translate this. A snare destroys a man's holiness. So they learn Yalla as destroy. Okay, yeah. Thereafter, he must seek to make holy vows. So they're also learning it as like a remedy thing.
Right.
Altar says it's a snare for a man to utter sanctified, and after the vows to reflect. Okay, so now let's go with Metzudas. Metzudas ציון says Yalla is inyan hashchasa. Okay, so Yalla equals destruction, ubilbul and confusion. Okay, Kamo al kain divari lau. That's in Eov when he's talking about his this is in chapter 6. Whatever. He's responding to Eliphaz, but it doesn't matter. Levaker is inyan drisha v'chipus. Okay, so he says levaker is drisa v'chipus, so inquiring or searching. Kamo lo yivaker. Okay, that's in Vayikra. I think that's by Nadarim in Vayikra.
It's a familiar process.
Yeah.
Not something we said.
In Shnai Mikra 3 times, twice. Yeah. Okay. So that's Saadia. Okay. If you look at that's Metzudas. Look at Saadia. Saadia actually I think is at least has something concrete here. Mimokshe ha'adam v'liaso es hakachin ubikuro achar hanadarim. So just structurally, okay, I like the way he reads it. So he's saying there are two snares, okay? Of the snares of man are, and it lists two things. Bliaso es a kodesh.
Yeah, it is a vapor.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Bliaso es a kodesh. How do you translate so first of all, you look what he does with the yalla. He says the short is bala, to swallow, right? Is consuming.
Huh.
Okay, so Bliaso es a kachin, consuming the
Holy.
kachin. Yeah, but kachin is different than kodesh, right? How do you translate kachin?
Sanctified.
Yeah, sanctified objects. Let's just say korbanos, right? I think if you're consuming it, then it's korbanos. Okay, we'll pull an R scroll. Okay, the holy sacrifices. Okay, or actually, I guess holy is not in brackets. Sacrifices. Okay, then ubikuru achar nadarim. So you could probably get that if you look at bikur and nadarim. You could probably like figure it out from context, maybe. What it would mean to be levakar achar nadarim. What would you just guess? I mean, inquiring after vows, and if this is a snare. I don't know if it's as obvious to you as it is to me, and maybe the fact it's obvious that it's like. Say it again. Seeks to make them.
Yeah.
Seeks or seeks? I couldn't. Seeks. Okay. Yeah. So that's okay. Yeah. So seeking to make vows, right? Meaning that's a snare. Meaning it's a bad thing. Isaiah, did you say something different?
I said making a lot of vows, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just I only like Yaakov's better because it fits in with the Bikor word. Okay. I forgot, as I always do, to look up words in Targum. Let's see if I can translate it. Pacha hu legavra dinadar lukucha. Oh, so look what he did. Dinadar lukucha. He put nadarim into the first half, right? So it is a snare for a man to make a vow for kachin, right? I think for kodesh, for holiness. Okay, vows of holiness. Ubasar hachi, and after this, chadyale nafshe. What?
Like
He's happy? What? I think so. Like chedva.
It's a good snare.
It's a good snare, right? Yeah. And after this, his soul is happy. Hedia?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, so that might be like where the art scroll and living knock are getting it from. That's like a remedy. That's under chadya. Yeah.
So just to clarify.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Jasper because he knows more Aramaic than I do. And after this, ubasar hachi, his soul is cleansed.
So the first half according to Targum is he makes a neder or something
For kodesh, yeah, something kodesh, and then after this, his soul is cleansed.
Is it?
Which sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, like the whole Pasuk's a good thing.
Or well, it's a snare though to make a vow for holy. But then
I mean that's the question in the Dharma in general about like
right.
Can I make if I make a neder for to motivate me to do something kadosh?
Yeah.
That's like making a vow in general is not necessarily a good thing.
Right. Well, that's the double-edged sword in the Nadarim, right?
Yeah.
Is on the one hand, when they're not for the right purpose, then they're bad, and if they are for the right purpose, then they're very good. So I feel like that's kind of going to be what our Pasuk is dealing with. So could we just come up with like now that we've read through all these?
But making the neder itself, whether it's for good or for bad, is also like problematic. Like there is a shita like that. I heard.
It's not pshat. I mean, pshat is that it's it's good to make a neder when it's good and it's bad when it's bad. I don't think anyone just like across the board says nadarim are always bad. I don't think. I mean, yeah. So let's just consolidate here, okay? Let's try to come up with translations that we can just like work with. Okay. So Mokesh Adam, Yalla Kodesh, Achar Nadarim Levaker. So given everything we've just heard, what would be the simplest way to read it? Yaakov runs from the room in fear. Okay, Mokesh Adam. I think it is a snare for a man. I think that part's pretty clear, right? It is a snare for a man. Okay, Yalla Kodesh. So what do we have here? We have to talk wildly. We have to destroy or confuse. and yeah, okay, so those are the two things. So speech or destruction, okay, and then kodesh is holiness or sacrifices, right? So it is a snare for a man to, so the wildly utter, so maybe this is where Saadion's getting it from, to like rashly make a netter to do something for kachim. Yeah. Yeah. So let's do that as one translation. So it is a snare for a man to make rash, and then I'm going to put in brackets vows for kodesh, and we can leave that ambiguous. For does it either mean like for kedusha purposes, like let's say you say I'm not going to eat meat, I'm not going to drink alcohol. Those are the classic ones, like right? Or kodesh meaning to donate something to mikdash, let's say, right? Okay, so that's first. So that's one way to take the first half. The other way is it is a snare for a man to. So if we said yalla means to destroy. Okay, so what would we say kodesh means there? Destroy or to swallow. What was that?
His own division.
Okay.
I think someone said.
Did someone say that? Do we have anyone who actually said kedusha? Oh, likudsha is what Targum said. Anyone say kedusha? Sadigan. Oh yeah. Art Scroll said a man stumbling undermines his sanctity. Yeah. Maybe we should leave this one aside we'll say to destroy or confuse kodesh. Let's just leave it vague here. Okay. Okay. So just to, I really need to get the screen up here, right? It is a snare for a man to make rash vows for kodesh. That's one approach. It is a snare for a man to destroy / confuse kodesh. That's another approach. Those are both the first half. Second half, the achar nadarim levaker is either listing another snare or it is listing a remedy. Right. So let's go with our first translation. It is a snare for man to make rash vows for kodesh and to be mivaker after nadarim. Okay, and mivaker we're leaving vague, to inquire after or to seek after. Okay. The second way, it is a snare for man to destroy or confuse kodesh. The achar nadarim levaker, I have no idea how that's going to play out. So we're confused, right? Yeah.
Would they be two different snares, or would they be like one snare that had like are connected into it?
So that's a good question. Meaning, even within the snare approach, is it distinct snares or is it related snares? Yeah, right. See, the most related way you can make it, I think, is Yalla Kodesh is like to make rash commitments for Kodesh and through netter, like how Saadia puts netter in the first half, But yeah. Should we go with a snare approach just because that's the most like workable one? Like that both of these are snares. I feel like just in terms of like sanity, like okay, yeah. So let's see this. So our working translation now, just to repeat one more time, it is a snare for a man to make to talk wildly for kodesh, right? To make rash vows for kodesh, and we're putting vows in there, and to be mavaker. Ooh, look at that. Here's the problem though. This is step one. The problem is I don't have an HDMI adapter. I only so I don't know. No, sorry. That's HDMI. My thing only takes USB or Thunderbolt, which is apparently different than USB 3.
You need an HDMI to a USB.
To a either. Well, I prefer to this Thunderbolt thing because I only the dumb thing about this computer. Yeah, I feel like your dad would have stuff like that. He's gonna like this. And there's all the adapters, like yeah. But I would prefer the USB 3 because the dumb thing about this computer, what kind of computer only has one USB port these days?
They have HDMIs on computers.
Yeah, right. I guess whatever. But this is a good first step.
Okay.
What was that?
One USB port?
It has one regular USB and then 2 Thunderbolt things, and I need the USB for this.
I see the Thunderbolt.
It's like a micro USB, but it kind of is different.
Wow.
Hey guys. That?
Those are 2 guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Yeah. I guess I'll wait on buying one.
I'll see my dad.
All right. Sure. I'll post it in some.
Wait,
WhatsApp
I
thing.
have another idea. I mean, I could use the other laptop.
This is my laptop. It has all my stuffs on it. yeah. It's too confusing to use the other one, or too cumbersome. I mean. Okay. So let's go back to this then. Okay, so no, it's fine. It is a snare for a man to make rash vows for kodesh. Oh, so just to be clear, no one is vowing to bring a USB adapter thing. Okay, that's we don't want to stumble into the just bleed netter, right? Okay, yeah. All right, questions. So it is a snare for a man to make rash vows for kodesh and to be mavaker achar nadarim. and we're leaving that. Mavaker is to seek or inquire. See, I one way to read seek and inquire is like what you were saying is to basically to endeavor to make, like to want to make Nadarim. I think there's another. Did anyone look up the thing in Vayikra?
Yeah, it's with the Kohen that he checks the spot, and if it's still, he checked again the spot, if it's still yellow.
Oh, so we're not even talking about Nadarim there.
No.
That's by Tsaras?
Yeah.
Oh. It's like literal inspection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like recheck the spot.
So, because do you get anything else when you think of inspecting after Nadarim? Like, does that bring anything to mind?
Inspecting after the-
Yeah.
Speed trying to get matzah.
Yeah. I think it's like to worm your way out of a netter that you made. You know, like to try to like
Inspect for openings.
inspect for openings. Yeah. Which obviously, like, if you need to do Hataras Nadarim, obviously there is a legitimate cause for that. But this sounds like it's a snare, right? Like if you're like questioning your Nadarim after the fact to try to find a way out, then that would seem to indicate that like your relationship to Nadarim is somehow like messed up, you know? To borrow Ariel's question, what's wrong with me? Like, you know, yeah, okay. Question we should always ask ourselves. Okay, so what are our, let's just get the questions here. Yeah. What's
Can I
going
just
on? Yeah.
take a picture of like your translation on there?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why do we need to specify rash vowels for Kodesh? Isn't this just a subset of vowels? Like
That's a good
specifying Kodesh vowels. They're just vowels
Okay.
also.
Right. Okay. So the question is, let's just ask it in the general way, like you said, why does it specify vowels for Kodesh? Okay. That's a subset. And there are other vowels like for tzedakah or like for, for being on the chavero. Yeah, David?
Whose vows is he seeking after? Like his own vows, or he's looking at other people's vows?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So whose vows is he seeking after?
I think it sounds like his own.
I would say it sounds like his own also because,
Walking.
yeah, this is like a methodology rule of thumb in Mishlei, I think, which is, it's not even a rule. This is my own rule of thumb, is conservation of people. Okay, which is that I don't like to posit another party in a pasuk unless I have reason to. So if we make it all about one person, fine. Then that's like where I'm inclined. But it's a valid question. It might be for example, like I'm just the first thing that comes to my mind is like someone says that they're going to do something good, and you start questioning their motives and like assuming that there's some sort of like ulterior motive, like that might be a thing. Yeah, Jakob?
Why is it Chad?
Yeah, okay, good. So the main question here, I think the way we're taking it is going to be like, why are these things, or how are these things snares, right? How are these things snares, right? In what sense? Yeah. Which is another way of asking also, or a related question, what case is this talking about? What cases is this talking about? Let's just say that. What cases is this talking about? Yeah, Jakob?
Kind of sub question.
Yeah.
Is it only Chad if it's Yalla Kodesh? Or
Okay.
Any, Kodesh.
Okay, good. So let's ask this in a more Mishlaic methodology way, which is, what is the other side of the pasuk? Okay, meaning we have the typical Mishlei structure is Chacham decision, Fool decision, Saadia decision, Rasha decision. Our pasuk seems to be talking about bad stuff. So is there a good version? And if so, what is the good version? Okay, what is the other side of the
That's
pasuk?
assuming it is open.
That is assuming, well, it's assuming, I'm trying to be more broad in the question than the way you asked it. You could argue that your question is better, but I'm saying like the pasuk is condemning something as a snare, and I'm assuming that there is some good decision that you would make in this same situation that would not be a snare, whether that is making a vow in a different manner or whether that's not making a vow, or, I'm just trying to keep it open-ended. Yeah.
So like what does it mean to be Mavaker?
Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm actually going to put these questions at the top. What does it mean to be Mivaker Achar Nidarim? Yeah.
And also, how's there's
And how is that a snare? Yeah, right. Yeah. Hold on. Did we miss something?
Yeah. And what's the difference between Nadarim and Rash Nadarim? I mean Rash vows?
Yeah. Let's just put this. What is the relationship between the two halves? I think that's the most broad way to say it, right? What is the relationship between the two halves? Yeah.
What do you mean to rashly make it wrong?
Yeah. What does it mean to rashly make nadarim? Is there a relationship between the English words rash and rash? Like a rash on your skin and like something quick, like to be quick and hasty? Or is that just an accident?
I think it's spelled the same.
Well, it's definitely spelled the same, but I'm just wondering if it's yeah.
It comes from the same thing.
Yeah, etymologically, yeah.
Not really sure.
But thank you for the spell. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to point out, there's a difference between rashly making decisions and making rash decisions.
Making decisions and making
Yeah, like
rash
if you
decisions.
rashly make a decision, it could still end up being a good decision.
But does that
You made
change?
it in a bad way? It's like a bad process.
But can you say the same thing? Making a rash decision could also end up being good?
I think the decision by characterizing the decision as rash, is like a negative implication automatically.
Perhaps.
I think also we should put emphasis on the word akar.
Yeah.
Why not just say finidar and
So that's what I'm also, this is more my ignorance than anything else, but mevaker achar, I think is just the idiom. Like to be, like if you said, for example, like, let's say like, I think this is a phrase, like to be, I might be making this up, like say like to be mevaker achar shalom chavero, to like inquire into the well-being of your friend, you know? So we say in English to inquire into, here levaker achar might just be an idiom, you know, but it might also be a chronological achar, which is where your question is coming from, right? Like after, like why after? Yeah.
Well, yeah, we kind of have that ambiguity in the translation.
Yes. We had an ambiguity in the translation.
No,
Yeah.
Does it mean afterwards or
Yeah.
after this?
Yeah. Okay. So you know, yeah.
And by after this, I don't mean.
Yeah. I'll add that to this question here. Does achar mean like? Does achar mean about or afterwards? Yeah.
But I mean, and in terms of mevaker, is it only, are you also only being mevaker after like a proper neder, or are you being mevaker also after like a rash neder, rash vow?
Right.
And like
Which
what's-
nadarim? Right. And which nadarim is this talking about? Only a rash one or all nadarim? I'm going to make a suggestion here because we only had half an hour today and because we're only going to have half an hour tomorrow. Let's do Metzudas David just to get some well, no, we're not going to do Metzudas David because he says destroy, right? Who do we have to do in order to be consistent with our translation? Who said it was the snare one? Saadia Gaon? Yeah. So the problem is you guys don't have the parish of Saadia Gaon. But let me just see. I'm going to read it, and if it's short, then I'll get it. I'm just going to say this for methodology purposes. Saadia Gaon had two things. He had a translation of the entire Tanakh into Arabic called the Tafsir, and it's like Onkelos in the sense that it's a translation, but it's a minimalist commentary. That's what the Torah Chaim has. And then there's also a parish of Saadia Gaon on, I don't know if it's on all Tanakh, but on all of Mishlei at least. And he actually like gives commentary, you know. So I don't know why Torah Chaim only prints one. Usually Torah Chaim is good about all things. Okay, so here's what Saadia Gaon says. I'll read it. It's not very long. I should share it for the people who can see it. Sorry.
Are there Arabic scholars who like really study that Saadia Gaon translation?
Yes. The most notable one is Kafech,
Okay.
the same Kafech who does this, and he's the one who translated this, and he has a lot of good stuff. I think the problem is I don't think this was readily available to many, like certainly not Ashkenazim, you know, because it was Judeo-Arabic. So I don't know if this is as well known as it.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have been able to read it anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah, unless there was some early Hebrew translation, and I've never seen such a thing. I think, you know, obviously, let's say like Saadia Gaon's Emunos Videos was also written in Judeo-Arabic, but it was translated into Hebrew early on. This, I don't think there's any other Hebrew translation other than Kafech's. Yeah.
The first part of the pasuk is like negative.
Yeah, the first part is definitely negative, and the only question is, does mokesh of the first half, because snare is negative, the only question is, does the snare also go on the second half? And we are right now treating it as yes.
And yalla is not negative.
Yalla sounds like it is negative because it sounds like he's doing it like rashly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So here's what Saadia Gaon's commentary says: Bichlal dibur zeh Pu'ulos b'mezid, kagon sheyikach ha'adam davar shehukdash lashem ubola'o. I forgot to say, okay, sorry. Saadia did say, so this is the problem with mixing and matching, right? Saadia said it's to swallow kudchin, or to consume kudchin, not to make rash vows.
Right.
All right, let's read it anyway. Okay, this is the messiness of getting away in Mishlei. Okay, included in speech are actions that are intentional. Like if you take something that was sanctified to Hashem and you swallow it. I don't know if that means literally like to but it means to like use it or to destroy it.
Can it be a good thing, like consume yourself with?
Well, when he says the word mazid, I'm assuming that he means like as an avail of a mazid. So that's why I'm assuming it's like a negative thing. Yeah. I mean, not in this context, it could be. I'm just saying in Saadia sounds like it. Yeah. V'chein gam im shoel hu al hanadarim heichan heim kedei lakachtam. Also, if a person asks about nadarim, how are they in order to take them? What? O b'derech pikadon o bizroa. Or with a, what do you call pikadon? The English word? Deposit, yeah. A collateral, that's the word I can never remember. Collateral, deposit, or with a zeroa, with your arm. What is it talking
Like
about?
by force.
Yeah, it sounds like he's saying if you want to get something from somebody that you loan that, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this means. Jump ship. Okay. let's jump ship. I'll look into it for tomorrow. But let's do Metzudas David, even though I know he's not the way that we've been going. I'm not gonna put it on the screen. Okay, it's too much work to put it up right there. So this Metzudas David says, Mokesh Adam Michshol Mokesh Avera. So a stumbling block of a snare of sin. Okay, Mashchis Kedushas Adam destroys man's kedusha. So he's learning it as Mokesh Adam. This is where our scroll got it, right? The snare of a man's sin, Yalla Kodesh destroys his Kodesh, his own sanctity. Okay, I can't argue with that. V'takanaso and its correction or its remedy, Levakir after nadarim is to look after, to seek after nadarim, v'lizboach l'Hashem levakish al nafsho, and to give offerings to Hashem, begging for his soul. Man, this is just not everyone. See, when I kind of said this yesterday in some context. I first heard it from Rapezach. Rapezach once said, whenever you see a big machlokas with like many opinions, it means no one knows what it's talking about. You know, I'm getting that vibe here. You know, like everyone is translating it differently, everyone's reading it differently.
Should just pick one.
Well, we should do that, right? But you know, I feel like Metzudas David reads so much into the pasuk, right?
More destroys.
Yeah.
Well, what does he read in? So he puts in avera. He puts in destroys is a translation issue. Kedushas ha'adam. He puts in the kedusha of man. He puts in Lizboach Lashem and Levakish al Nafsho, like, you know, with Nadarim, yeah. Through Nadarim specifically, right, yeah.
All right, let's take each one and knock it down.
Do it. Like it's a negative first part of the pasuk.
Yeah.
It is to fix.
Okay, so if we're going to take Metzudas David, which I'm not saying we will, but if we're going to take him, the question is how is an avera a snare? I understand how averos destroy your kedusha, but how is it a snare that destroys your kedusha? You know, and then the second thing is, however we understand that problem, why is the takana? I would say what would you say the takana is for doing an avera that ruins your kedusha? Yeah, surmei ra, shuva. You know, like maybe tefillah, but not neg nadarim to give korbanos for your soul. Like it's just like a very very specific thing.
Maybe he's talking about a specific individual.
You could say that. I mean, it sounds pretty universal in the first half. Mokesh Adam, right? You know.
Well, maybe the audience is the individual who, because I just want to understand snare for avera. Maybe this individual, he doesn't do many averas. He has like one, let's say, and that avera is a snare for other averas.
Yeah, that would be a good explanation for a snare, right? Meaning like it pulls you into other averos.
Yeah, and maybe the neder is to slowly get you back on track. It's like
neder for korbanos according to Mishlei David, right? Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. Bali neder. I am going to look through the Mefarshim, see if anyone takes it the way that we're taking it, so that we can start with that tomorrow. And then failing that, we'll look at other interpretations from other Mefarshim and just the goal will be to get an idea. Okay. I think it's a good, humble goal. Okay. Right.
What's the
So we're not like a Nazir, like you're saying, like a Nazir, you like drink wine or something. And